Well, okay. So when I first found out there's going to be another Suicide Squad movie, but it's not by the same guy. It's going to be like a redo, but it still has Margot Robbie. Still has Margot Robbie. I didn't know what to. That seemed like the weirdest idea to me.
I mean, 4 or 5 years apart from the first one.
Yeah.
But the results were pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm not a superhero guy. I don't really think you are much either. I mean,
I'm not as big as some. I do like DC. I like what they did, especially with Dark Knight back in the day. That was like my shit. So
I've not seen Guardians of the Galaxy, which, from what I understand about it, is that it shares a lot in common with this. First of all, it's James Gunn.
Did a fantastic job.
Yeah. I guess what I liked about it, not being a superhero fan, really, it's a comedy first. Mm-hmm. Much like Deadpool, it's a comedy.
Tonally, it found itself somewhere between Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool in that arena, where the first movie
and it's funny. It's it's not just a comedy; it's a funny comedy.
Oh yeah, like you actually do laugh.
Successful comedy. Yeah. That's important that I mentioned that.
The first one really fell flat just because, in my opinion, there were some parts that worked well, right? You had some good performances. We're not going to get into it too much, but it was like there was a really good puzzle and somebody just mashed the pieces together instead of actually taking time to figure it out. The tone was weird. It was real dark, real, and then comedic, and it didn't seem to find a balance or footing. This one, the opposite. The tone is super balanced, and I think that even the first 20 minutes really sold me on this movie.
The thing I liked about the intro the most is that it first of all, it tells you exactly what kind of movie this is going to be. It starts off, it starts hot, but it also explains the situation they're in without any exposition, without anybody having to say this is their situation. They're going, and this whole thing of, you watch the original Suicide Squad, and it's like
the first half hour is like it's like watching a trailer for a half hour, and there's just so much telegraphing. I do think that there are some things that they built off, right? If you've seen both of them, you'd understand more of it. But in the end, this one just stands head and shoulders above the original, in my opinion.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Weasel is not a real comic book character.
Any Weasel fans, feel free to correct us, but
any Weasel fan would. I'm sure if this was a real superhero, I'm sure there's a hardcore fan base.
Yeah.
People who just love Weasel, and they would not stand for this shit, this bastardization of their favorite superhero character. That's why I say it's probably not a real character. For people who hated it, don't worry, there is no Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah. Yep. He got X'd out. They do a lot with Harley Quinn's storyline, and they carry through some of the core threads from Birds of Prey, her standalone movie, and they carry through some of that, especially in her romantic life. So if you're a Harley Quinn fan, this is a good movie for you.
Yeah, well, she's pretty much the main character, I guess. Right? It's all really her.
I would say it's.
Or Idris Elba.
I think they're I'm gonna cop out. I'm gonna be a little bitch. I'm gonna say co-main characters.
Sure. There are, I guess, 3 villains. The last villain is so cartoonish and ridiculous. If it was in any other superhero movie, it would be laughable.
People be leaving the fucking theater.
But it works in this movie because of the tone that's already established. And this is a cartoony punk movie.
Don't go into this expecting like you're like a clean, squeaky clean Marvel script with the CGI, everything all on point for like these big macho battles constantly. Also, don't go into it thinking it's going to be a light comedy, right? It's there's some darkness, there's a lot of stuff that goes down.
Heads get caved in.
You have to have a beer or drink with one Suicide Squad member.
Harley Quinn. I'm kind of glad they killed Davidson in the first 5 minutes.